तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Vande Gurur Mandalam. Shivoham. We are studying the success sutras that are given out by Lord Shiva. These rules are infallible. In the last session, I had discussed different activities that can be done when lunar nadi is active. Today we will talk about various activities as per Shiv Swarodaya that you can do and ensure success when solar nadi is active. So without wasting any time further, let's begin. The Surya Nadi or Pingla Nadi is located at the right side of the spinal cord and is masculine in nature. It is related to the sun due to its energetic and heating energies. Hope you remember the ground rule. This is the activities that we engage in should be aligned with the qualities and energies of Swar. To understand more about what activities Pingla Nadi supports, let's take the next verse, the 114th verse. Pingla kathin krur vidyanam pathane pathane tatha stri sang vaishya gamane mahanaukadhi rohane. It means when Pingla is active, one should teach or learn difficult and violent studies, connect to women, immoral sensual indulgences, and boarding a ship. Pingla Nadi gives efficiency, vitality, and strength to a person. So we'll notice that most of the activities that are associated with Pingla Nadi are physical in nature. Learning and teaching difficult and violent studies like Kalariya Pattu, Kushti or wrestling, boxing, taekwondo, kung fu and military studies etc. are best done when solar nadi is active. During coitus, males should have Pingla nadi active while females should have Ida nadi active. The word Vaishya Gamane means to do licentious activities. One may feel that why is such a piece of information given here? Well, it should be understood that it is not in any way to promote such activities, rather to make the teachings all inclusive and usable for all types of people who mindlessly engage in all sorts of indulgences in the world. Casual physical indulgence with unknown people may cause unseen damages to your energy body and chakras. You may read the article by Acharya ji on this topic. The link will be provided in the description box. So here it is advised that if a male isn't able to control his animalistic urges and engages in such activities, then he will be harmed a little less energy wise. In a nutshell, when any activity is dominant in physical action or exertion, then Pingla Nadi should be activated. Alright, let's take the next verse on Pingla, the verse 115th verse. It states, भ्रष्टकार्ये सुरापाने वीर मंत्राद्युपासने विह्वलोद ध्वंस देशादौ विषदाने च वैरिणाम. It means doing corrupt activities, drinking liquor, doing sadhana of veer mantras, being agitated, destroying a country, or giving poison to an enemy. You may see many verses in Shiv Swarodaya that talk about war, mean and violent activities. Keep in mind, many of these activities were the ones that rulers or kings were engaged in. This advice is for them, not for you. This text has something for all stratas of society. It is up to you to see what fits your role. But I am sure you are not among those who will poison someone. What is Veer Mantrupasana? If you have read or heard about Indian mythological stories, you must have noticed that demons or Rakshasas did very hard penance or tapasya to please the gods, especially Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. And when their penance was over and Lord appeared to give them the boon, almost all asked for immortality, immense strength, or some way to conquer the world. Such upasana, wherein a devotee is impatient and working for self-gratification, uses Veer mantras. Sadhana of Veer mantras or difficult mantras need lots of physical strength and energy, as this process is not only about chanting the mantra, but while chanting the mantra, the body is subjected to discomfort and agony. So it is best done when Pingla Nadi is active. Well, again, there is no suggestion being given here that you do such and such upasana. What I mean to say is that sadhana is the way to strengthen your inner energies. What you do with acquired powers is entirely your choice. Yes, one more point before I proceed. Why demons did not propitiate Lord Vishnu? It is because Vishnu represents Sattva, and his upasana will be contrary to the whole psychic makeup of demons, as they are intensely rajasic or tamasic. Alright. In the same verse, we also have reference to war-like situations like the destruction of a country or giving poison to the enemy. There are many more verses in this text that talks about swar during wars. So for now, I am not detailing much on it. Let's take the next verse, the 116th verse. Shastra abhyase cha gamane mrigya pashu vikraye ishtika kasht pashana ratna gharshan dharane. It means studying the scriptures, traveling, hunting, selling cattle, making bricks, breaking stones, cutting wood, and polishing gems. Studying scriptures may bring some confusion. Scriptures are not like enchanting novels and storybooks that deal with worldly matters more or less in a linear fashion. Scriptures are tough subjects, grammar-wise, and they present intricate systems of logic and philosophies. They are full of cross-references, loaded with information and knowledge within them. Thus, it requires a mind that is able to go back and forth throughout the scripture to understand the real meaning of it. This is best done when solar swar is active. Buying the cattle is done when lunar nadi is active, and selling should be done when solar nadi is active. People who are in brick making business should start their work on the day when their Pingala Nadi is active. And people who are in the business of diamonds and other valuable gems should have their solar Nadi active while grinding and polishing the gems. And yes, even when the person is learning this art of grinding and polishing gems, will do it better if his or her Surya Nadi is active. Let's take the next verse, that is 117th verse. It states, Gatya abhyase yantra tantri durga parvat rohane dyute chaurye gajashvadhi rat sadhan vahane. It means going on a fast pace, practicing yantra and tantra, climbing a mountain or fort, gambling, stealing, bringing an elephant, horse or a vehicle. If you are approaching a deadline of a project, you need all your faculties to work at their best. Then start the work in active Surya Swar. Surya Swar is apt when you have to do anything in speed like running or swimming. Practice of certain tantric rituals with the yantras need the energies of solar swar to be successful. However, there are exceptions. Further, these practices are to be done with the permission of Guru under his or her guidance, and therefore I am not trying to fixate your understanding. So always follow what Guru says. Physical activities like climbing mountains or trekking and other adventure sports like bungee jumping, paragliding, rock climbing, etc. should be done with active solar swar. While discussing the activities of lunar swar, I had mentioned that handling animals that are trained, it is good to have lunar swar active. But if animals are not trained or you are training the animal, then always do it in active solar swar. Solar swar is good even when you start to learn to drive. The next verse, 118th verse states, Vyayame marano uchchate षट्कर्मादिक साधने यक्षिणे यक्षवेताल विषभूतादि निग्रहे. It means exercising, doing tantric processes like maran, uchchatan, doing shatkarma sadhana to restrain yakshini, yaksha, vetal and poisonous creatures. One should do the yoga asan with solar swar. People who are in sports should keep this in mind. Playing sports like tennis, badminton, cricket, etc. when your solar swar is active. As discussed earlier, the Shat Karmas in Tantra are Akarshan or Mohan, Vashikaran, Uchchatan, Vidveshan, Stamban and Maran. These are not easy tantric processes as one is trying to gain influence over others by controlling his or her energies. In a way, one is trying to manipulate the normal universal laws with one's will. If the processes go wrong, it can turn into repentance of life. In such processes, we have personally seen so many getting seriously hurt and even going insane. Such practices are not shared with inexperienced, meek, impulsive and naive sadhakas. Instead, only Indriya Jeet students are allowed here. The other lot does not have the discrimination, patience and wisdom to use such powers. Having said so, the rule is that such practices are to be done in active solar swar. Attaining siddhis on the path of sadhana is like a bonus for sadhaks. But many people enter into the path of tantric sadhana only to gain siddhis. One very promising, although lowly way of doing so is by doing the sadhana of yaksh, yakshinis, pishachinis, pari and vetal and all other sorts of low-hanging accomplishments that belong to the darker realm of existence. In the first place, most of these entities are not very predictable. Further, they are very revengeful and obsessive, and if a person gets weak even for a fraction of a second or misses a step in their propitiation while doing the sadhana, the tables will be turned and instead of sadhak controlling them, they will start controlling the sadhak. I have seen quite a few cases of this regard. If you have ever contemplated doing such sadhanas, my advice would be to stay away and never not try things on your own without the guidance of an able guru. Shiva says these processes are also done with active solar swar. The next verse is 119th verse states, Khar ushtra mahishadinam gajashva ruhane tatha nadi jalaug tarane bheshje lipi lekhane. It means riding a donkey, camel, buffalo, elephant or horse, swimming across a river or a sea, preparing medicine and writing letters. People seldom ride on donkeys, camels, buffaloes, elephants or horses, etc. The vehicles are also becoming easier to drive with every new advancement in the auto industries. Therefore, the first half of this verse has kind of become redundant in modern times. One should handle heavy machinery when solar swar is active and start a new factory or production unit in solar swar. It is mentioned that making medicines and treatment should be done when solar swar is active. Ayurvedic medicines were not so easy to make. One needed to collect herbs that are not easily available and sometimes have to go deep in forests, mountains and valleys to find them. All these things were done manually. Swarodaya says the efforts of finding herbs should be done with active solar swar. Further processing and preparing herbs should also be done in solar swar. It also says that to write an impactful letter, it is recommended to begin in solar swar. And it is also said that when one writes a letter in solar swar, one is expected to have positive reply to the letter. Let's move to the next verse, 120th verse. It states, Marane mohani stambhe vidvesho uchchatane vashe prerane karshane kshobhe dane cha kray vikraye. It means killing, attracting, paralyzing, causing enmity within people, inspiring, cultivating, causing agitation, doing charity, buying and selling. The activities mentioned in this verse are about influencing the other person's life and state of mind. While some activities impact others negatively, others may have a positive effect. While you are inspiring or motivating others, have your solar swar active. The word dane comes here, which means giving. But as it comes in this particular verse, we should understand that when one is giving not to help, but to influence. Rather, buying and selling can also be done in solar swar. Solar swar is beneficial when you are preparing and cultivating land for farming. The next verse, 102nd verse, states, Preta akarshan vidveshe Shatru nirgane apicha Khadak haste vairi yuddhe Bhoge varaj darshane Bhojye snane vyavhare Deeptakarye Ravi Shubha. It means solar swar is beneficial for calling spirits, hostility, killing the enemy, using sword when fighting with the enemy, sensual pleasures, meeting the king, eating, taking bath and general dealings. By now it is quite clear that when one is dealing with opponents, rivals or enemies, one's solar swar should be active. When one is meeting a king or a person of higher order, solar swar is good. All activities that require energy, physical effort and stimulation should be done in solar swar. In this verse, it is mentioned that when one is eating, one should have solar swar active. When one eats food, when solar swar is active, the digestion is good. If you are suffering from indigestion, constipation or any digestive issues, you should have your major meals when your solar swar is active. Initially, you may require changing your swar before having your meals, but as you do it for a few days, the swar will automatically change to Surya swar at your lunch or dinner time. But yes, for that you need to have your meals at the same time every day. If you keep on changing the timings, the swar will not work accordingly. It is also recommended that you drink water when your lunar swar is active. One should take a bath when the solar swar is active. For the weak-willed, it is recommended that they should take bath in lukewarm water. We have met some yogis who recommend bathing with cold water in all seasons. And it is also said that one should have lunar swar active while bathing with cold water. Well, using cold water may not be feasible for everyone. Hence, follow the middle path. Do not bathe with too hot or too cold water. Doing great acts of valor and strength should be done under the influence of solar swar. The next verse, 102nd verse states, Bhukta margecha mandagnau strinam vaishyadi karmani shayanam suryavahena kartavyam sarvada buddhehe. It means the wise should always do following activities when solar swar is active: gratifying the senses, stimulating appetite, charming women, and sleeping. When one is indulging in any sorts of sensual pleasures, solar swar should be active. As mentioned earlier, Surya swar is beneficial to stimulate a dull digestive system. So, if you are suffering from indigestion, you should activate your solar swar often, even out of turn. When a man is trying to woo a woman, he should have his Surya swar active. If you remember, we had discussed that yogis strive to keep their lunar swar active during the whole day and solar swar active in the night. Here too it is mentioned that one should go to bed with Surya swar active. The solar swar can be easily activated in the night by sleeping on your left side. This is a very beneficial practice as it helps in better digestion, and even the healing and restoration of the body at night is adequate. The last verse related to the activities to be done during active solar swar is 103rd verse. It states, Krurani sarva karmani charani vividhani cha nani siddhyanti suryena natra karya vicharana. It means all strong, harsh, moving and dynamic works should be done when solar swar is active. There is no second thought about it. We are getting the final word here, a thumb rule. All the types of works that are dynamic, vigorous and zestful should be done with solar swar active. Any activity that is done for short term and will produce immediate results should be done with active solar swar. When you are about to enter an activity, understand the type of activity clearly and then decide on the appropriate and suitable swar. We all know that the energies of the sun and moon affect our lives. It is a well-known fact that if you sleep during the day and work at night, it leads to various health issues. Diseases caused by such mindless living are rightly called lifestyle diseases, and therefore the need for proper dincharya has been emphasized in Ayurveda, the great Indian science of medicine. Swar Yog doesn't stop there. Rather, it further studies the subject even more deeply and postulates that there are numerous cycles of sun and moon energies in 24 hours. By now, you would have understood that these energy cycles can be aptly recognized by a Swar Yogi by aligning his breathing with the cosmic rhythm. Once the stage of alignment with cosmic rhythms is reached, Swar Yogis are advised to follow definite rules as to which activity they should engage in which cycle. That's all for today. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I bow down to the divine sitting in your hearts.